Hello everyone. So today we are going to see the one topic. It is left in my previous section. So today we are going to see that left topic, that is a reaction with halogen of group number 16. Reaction of group 16 elements with halogen. Here we will consider as group number 16 element as E, that is oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and X as halogen, that is fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. In this first point will come that group 16 element form three type of halides. Three type of halides, that is first is it is EX2 type, EX3 type and EX4 type. By seeing the halogen we can give the name as dihalide, trihalide and tetrahalide respectively, and also it can be formed as hexahalide. Okay, so in here trihalide has not been considered in your course, so I am not doing it. So you can consider here dihalide, tetrahalide and hexahalide. It also forms monohalide, which I will discuss in the later on. So first, before starting this whole topic, first point, the most important point is stability of halides. Who will be the most stable halides of group number 16, and that stability series you should remember, that is fluorine, chlorine ion, bromine ion and iodine ion. So this is very important for your 1 mark question. So this is the stability of halide of group number 16. So which is the most stable halide of group number 16? That is fluoride. Clear? Which is the most stable halide of a group number 16? Fluorides. And here we are going to study only about fluorides only, because the number of questions will be coming based on the fluorides. So this EX2 is called as dihalide. This is called as tetrahalide, and this is called as hexahalides. One more key point I would like to tell, that please remember as a key point, they also form as a monohalide. Group number 16 element forms monohalide, but that monohalides are existing as dimer in form. So monohalide, this is very important for your MCQ or for competition point of view, as well as for the regular test point of view, that the monohalides of group number 16 are in dimer form. Please write down this. We are going to discuss in detail one by one. First we will discuss hexahalide, then tetrahalide, then dihalide. See beta, in some other books, if you see competition book, they have given number of halides with bromine, with iodine, but that are not required. Only you have to study about the fluorine, because most important topic related is only for the fluorine. You have to see the structure and you have to see the geometry. That's it. Nothing else it is there. It's a very small topic. I am really very sorry that I forgot that topic to upload the video. See now it. Okay. So here first MCQ I told today is the stability of the halides, and that stability of halide is fluoride ion, chloride ion, bromide ion and iodine ion. And second group, second important point is monohalides. Group number 16 also forms the monohalides, and monohalides of group number 16 will exist as a dimer in form. Please remember this question, they are very important. At the end certain questions I will give you. Written everyone? So first point or first topic we are going to start, that is the hexahalides. Written? So take a screenshot. Okay. So hexahalide, in that I told you that only the fluorine halides will be the most stable. You can see the stability. It is not like that the other elements will not form the halides. They will form chlorides also, they will form bromides also, but they are not stable. Fluorine halides are more stable. Why? The reason is fluorine is having the smallest in size. Due to the smallest in size, the fluorine having a high electronegative in nature, so the bond will be very strong. Due to this reason, fluorine halides or the halides formed by the fluorine will be very strong, hence they are stable. Whereas when I go from chlorine, bromine and iodine, their size increases, so bond length increases, bond strength decreases, hence they are less stable. Okay, so here hexahalides. So first form I will write down that hexafluorides of group 16 are most stable. Group 16 are most stable. Clear? In that first example I can write down this SF6, then sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and here oxygen cannot form hexahalide due to non-availability of d orbitals. So this is the one series of group number 16 element. Oxygen cannot form hexahalide due to non-availability of d orbital. It is not given in your textbook, but please remember here that oxygen cannot form hexahalide due to non-availability of d orbitals. So this is the first point of hexahalide. Now we are going to study about the SF6 geometry. See the geometry of SF6. See, first we will see the hybridization with our own trick, which we are using the trick in our class. So SF6, which trick we are using? We are taking S, we are taking 6 into F. Now S outermost orbital will be 6 and fluorine outermost orbital will be 7. Outermost orbit electron will be 7. So here 6 plus 42, answer will be 48. 48 means 8 6 are 48, 0. 6 means, so SF6, 6 means hybridization will be sp3 d2. First MCQ, it is clear to you? Hybridization is sp3 d2, and as the hybridization is sp3 d2, the geometry will be octahedral. Geometry will be octahedral. See the structure of octahedral structure. See, write down S here, one on top, then on the right side and on the axial position. So I would have told you in your atomic structure. So here F, here F, or chemical bonding you studied, no? So this is the structure, and the bond angle between FSF is nearly 90 degree. Write down this. So this is the structure, geometry and hybridization of SF6. So geometry is octahedral, hybridization is sp3d2, and structure is this SF6, octahedral structure. And the bond angle between FSF is nearly 90 degree. Okay. Next, if I do the hydrolysis of SF6, so what I will get? So I will get the answer as no reaction. So hydrolysis of sulfur hexafluoride is not possible because this 6 fluorine will protect this sulfur. This 6 fluorine will not allow this sulfur to do the hydrolysis. Hence SF6 it's not hydrolyzed. Write down, SF6 cannot be hydrolyzed. SF6 cannot be hydrolyzed. SF6 cannot be hydrolyzed because 6 fluorine protect the sulfur. Because 6 fluorine protect the sulfur from attack of H2O. Because 6 fluorine protect the sulfur. Because 6 fluorine protect the sulfur from the attack of water. That's it, you have to study in the hexafluoride. See, this hexafluoride also exists. It's not like that it will not exist. It is existing, but you should not study because it is not in your course. Just this sulfur only question will be asked. Clear? And keep on you remember here, oxygen also form halides with only fluorine. That is, one is OF2 and another one is O2F2. Other halides of oxygen doesn't exist. And why oxygen will only form the halogen or halides with fluorine? The reason is fluorine is the more electronegative element as compared to oxygen. So here oxygen will show the positive oxidation state rather than any other element of compounds. So here only the oxygen will show the positive oxidation state. In other atom, in other compound, oxygen can never show the positive oxidation state, and this I have told in redox reaction. Oxygen will show always -1 in peroxide, -2 in oxide, and -0.5 in superoxide. But when it is combined with halogen, and why it can be combined with halogen? The reason is fluorine is the most electronegative element, whereas the fluorine is the more electronegative element than the oxygen also. So oxygen will start to lose the electron when combined with fluorine. That's why oxygen will only show the positive oxidation state when combined with fluorine in the compound OF2 and O2F2. Other halides of oxygens are not possible. Clear this part? So another key point I told you. So in that set you have to study in the hexahalide. Clear? Next we are going to study about the tetrahalides. Take a screenshot. Next we are going to see the tetrahalides. So here also same story will come. The tetrafluorides of group number 16 are most stable. Right on this point. Tetrahalides of group number 16 with the fluorine are most stable. So tetrafluoride of group number 16 are most stable. Okay, you can see the example here. SF4, again SeF4, sulfur, selenium, tellurium. Oxygen cannot form. Oxygen will form only two type of halide, with that too with only fluorine, OF2 and O2F2. That's it. Other part oxygen will not come. Only you have to study about sulfur, not about selenium as well as about tellurium. Here also stability of sulfur will be too much. Why, sir? The reason is, see, as we move downside the group, the size of the atom increases. From sulfur to selenium, here atom size increases, tellurium size also, atom also increases, but fluorine size remains same. So when the central atom size increases, so the bond length increases, bond strength decreases, so sulfur will be more stable fluoride than the tellurium fluoride. You can see, no, sulfur is smaller in size than fluorine. Okay, so this is the bond length. Again selenium size will increase, but fluorine size will remain as it is. So here bond length is increasing. When bond length increases, bond strength decreases. That's why it is less stable. Similarly for tellurium tetrafluoride. Okay, here one MCQ you should remember, that is SF4 will exist as in gaseous state, this will be existing in a liquid state, and this will be existing in a solid state. What is the reason? There cannot be any reason, because it is an experimentally proved. It is seen experimentally that SF4 is in a gaseous state, SeF4 it is in a liquid state, and TeF4 it is in a solid state. So this is very important MCQ. State of sulfur tetrafluoride is gaseous, state of selenium tetrafluoride is liquid, and state of tellurium tetrafluoride is solid. Clear? Again we are going to see the hybridization of SF4. See here, again SF4 here. We will see the hybridization with the shape. We will see the shape and we will see the hybridization. So S plus 4 into F. S it will be 6 and F will be 7. So 6 plus 28, and 28 means 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34, and here 8. Here 8 yes, 8 4s are 32, here 2, again here 2 1s are 2, so 0. 4 plus 1 5, so here 4 plus 1 5, 5 means sp3d2, sp3d, not sp5, no, 5 means sp3d. So hybridization should be sp3d. Expected shape, tell me what can be the expected shape? Expected shape can be trigonal bipyramidal, but it is not that. Actually the shape is seesaw. So expected is trigonal bipyramidal, but it is not there. Actually shape is seesaw. Actual shape is seesaw. Why? Due to presence of one lone pair. See here. SF4, I can write like this. Now see here, sulfur outermost orbit electron should be 6. Yes or no? Sulfur outermost orbit electron should be 6. See here now in SF4, here 1, here 2, here 3, here 4. Means 2 electrons are remaining, so they will come in the form of a lone pair. So as there is a one lone pair in SF4, the structure expected was diagonal bipyramidal. But due to the presence of a lone pair, the structure shape actually is seesaw. Clear this part? The shape is seesaw. Hybridization is sp3d. Expected shape was trigonal bipyramidal. But due to presence of lone pair here, how lone pair will come better? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sulfur is giving 1 electron here. 2, 3 and 4. Still 2 is remaining. So 5, 6. So there is a one lone pair in SF4. Due to the presence of lone pair in SF4, the actual shape is seesaw. C-SO shape will come. Okay, clear this part? Here, you know, these positions are called as an axial position and this position are called as an equatorial position. So here lone pair should be on equatorial position. If the direction of lone pair will change, the shape will change. So please remember, write down here one point, please write down. The lone pair electron, please write down one here. One point, write down please here. The lone pair electron must occupy one of the equatorial position only. One of the equatorial position only. The lone pair must occupy one of the equatorial position only. The lone pair must occupy one of the equatorial position only. If the position of lone pair will change, if the position of lone pair will change, the shape also will change. Means if you want to form a C-SO shape, so to form actually it is a C-SO shape only. Okay, so to get the C-SO shape, the lone pair position should be only at equatorial. So here one MCQ is coming. Then in SF4, the lone pair position must be where? The lone pair position must be at equatorial position. Lone pair position must be at equatorial position. Clear now? Clear? This is the series of stability also. Stability. Clear? Lone pair position must be where? It should be occupied equatorial only. If this position will change, you know beta, shape will change. But to get C-SO shape, and actually it is C-SO shape. So to get a C-SO shape, the lone pair must be at equatorial position only. Clear? Chal. This we have written, I hope. One more point it is going to come, that SF4 is acting as a both Lewis acid, Lewis base. How? We'll see this. So see beta, SF4, I am telling it is Lewis acid as well as Lewis base. Lewis base, it's a very simple, because they have one lone pair. So as they can donate the lone pair, they will act as a Lewis base. So due to presence of lone pair. Why Lewis acid? Better see here. In SF4, the oxidation number of sulfur is +4. Yes or no? And maximum sulfur can go up to +6. Yes or no? In SF4, the oxidation number of S is +4. Again, now as maximum oxidation number of sulfur is +6. Yes or no? Means it can still gain 2 electron more to get the +6. When it can gain 2 electron more, it will act as a Lewis acid. Yes or no? So I can write down here, it can gain, as in SF4 the oxidation number of sulfur is +4, but the maximum oxidation state is +6, means still 2 electron it can be gained. Yes or no? So it can gain 2 electron more, so it acts as Lewis acid. It acts as a Lewis acid. Are you understanding? It's very simple. Yes or no? So as in SF4 the oxidation state is +4, and in SF4 oxidation state is +4, but sulfur can go maximum up to +6, so it can gain 2 electron more, so it acts as a Lewis acid. Clear? Chalo. So next we are going to see dihalides. Clear? Dihalides. So here also you can write down dihalides of fluoride are more stable than other, but they can form chloride also. So here I am just covering the textbook. Okay, here you should simply remember the textbook is enough. In dihalide we have HCl2, then we have SF2, etc. Okay, what can be the shape? We will see the shape SF2. If I am writing like this, how many sulfur is using here? 1, 2. So actually sulfur is having how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And sulfur outermost is 6 electron. No? So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Due to presence of this lone pair, the structure shape will be bent. As like water. The shape is like water only, no? So due to presence of this lone pair, there will be repulsion between this lone pair. The shape will be bent. Actually, the shape was expected to be linear, but due to the presence of lone pair, the shape is bit bent. Yes or no? And the bond angle is nearly 103 degree. We will see the hybridization. S plus 2 into F. Sulfur means here 6. Fluorine means here 7. 6 plus 14, 20. 8 2s are 16. And 2 2s are 4. 2 plus 2 here 4. Here shape is sp3. So your hybridization will be sp3. Clear? And this one key point I told you, that monohalides are in dimer in form. So monohalides are in dimer form. Like write down S2F2, S2Cl2, okay, S2 or Ac2F2, etc. And their shape will be similar like H2O2. See here, SSCl. See similar shape like H2O2, open book structure, skew structure. Okay, so monohalides are in a dimer form, and their structure is similar that of an H2O2, that is an open book structure. Now one point is associated with these monohalides. This is very important, that these monohalides are in dimer form, and this all dimer will show disproportionation reaction. Disproportionation, sorry for spelling mistake, reaction. This will show the disproportionation reaction, means this dimer form will undergo oxidation as well as reduction. We will see this. Suppose I am taking the example of S2Cl2, and when I am met to react, it will form HCl4 plus sulfur. Okay, it will form HCl4 and sulfur. Here sulfur are 2 and here chlorine is 4, so 2 2s are 4, here 4, 3, sorry, clear? Cl. So in S2Cl2, the oxidation state of sulfur is 2S plus 2Cl, that is minus 1 equal to 0, 2S minus 2 equal to 0, 2S equal to 2, S equal to 1. So here oxidation state is plus 1, but here oxidation state is plus 4 and here 0. So plus 1 to 0 reduction. Yes or no? Plus 1 to 0 reduction and plus 1 to plus for oxidation. Means they can do oxidation and they can also do reduction. Means they can act as oxidizing agent as well as reducing agent. Means they will show disproportionation reaction. So all the monohalides which are in the dimer form of group number 16 will show the disproportionation reaction. So in your textbook it's given that much, and that is only enough. More than textbook also I have done. Okay, so you can see to it. And in the next part of the video I am going to do certain MCQ based on group number 15 and 16. Check it out. Thank you. Hello everyone. So now we are going to discuss about MCQs, certain complicated or mixed MCQ I have written on the board. Here only 4 MCQ I have written, but not only 4 MCQ we are going to solve. We are going to solve number of MCQ, and if I go on writing this MCQ and I solve, it will consume time. So first what we will do, I will discuss this 4 MCQ here, and then I will ask you to write down in your notebook. Other from 5th to 6th, nearly we have 15-20 MCQs we have. So you have to write down in your notebook and then you will solve the MCQ. So before starting the lecture, please you take out your book, pen along with me, and you have to be continue with me. Don't go anywhere and here and there, because today's class is very important. I am going to discuss about the MCQs related to 15 and 16 group only. 15 and 16 group. Then 17 and 18 group MCQ will come after the completion of 17 and 18 group, that is after nearly 10-15 days after the last lecture of P block element. So today's MCQ is only related to the 15 and 16 group. For the girls section, I have left one topic. Sorry. For the girls section, I have left one topic, and that topic is aqua regia. So today I will discuss this also. And in boys I have done this aqua regia, but for girls I have left that topic, so I will discuss this also. Clear? So I hope you have ready with your book, with your pen. Okay. First you pause the video and write down this 4 MCQ. Then we will discuss one by one. So pause the video and write down the MCQs. So written. See, first we will discuss the MCQ. Oxygen molecule is. Now they have asked O2. That is, they are telling about oxygen molecule means they are telling about O2 molecule. So O2 molecule is diamagnetic with no unpaired electron, diamagnetic with 2 unpaired electron, paramagnetic with 2 unpaired electron, and paramagnetic with no unpaired electron. Clear? So in this topic, you remember one shortcut. I'll tell you. Whenever, see, oxygen molecule means it is O2, means 2 into oxygen molecule contain 8 electron, no? One oxygen atom contain 8 electron. Totally 16 electron are there. Clear? So there is one shortcut. If you have 10 electron or if you have 16 electron or odd electron, this is one shortcut. Please remember from chemical bonding. If you have 10 electron, if you have 16 electron, or if you have odd electron, they all will be diamagnetic. They all will be paramagnetic. 10, 16 and para, I think it is going from here. So 10, 16 or odd electron, it all will be paramagnetic. In any molecule, if you are containing 10 electron or if it contains 16 electron or odd electron, 10, 16 or odd electron, they are paramagnetic. Even number except 10 and 16, diamagnetic. So even number except 10 and 16, they are diamagnetic. Please remember the shortcut. This 110% will work in number of questions like this. So now see here, in oxygen, O2 is a molecule, it contains 16 electron. When 16 electron means it will be a paramagnetic. So here paramagnetic we have 2 options, C and D. Now which is correct? So guarantee A and B answer will not come, C and D will come. So to see whether it is containing 2 unpaired electron or it contain no unpaired electron, we have to write down the electronic orbital configuration theory, orbital electronic configuration. So for 16 I have to write down sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2. Okay, then now it is 16, so sigma 2pz2, pi 2px2 equal to pi 2py2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Pi star 2px equal to pi star 2py. So it contains 60 electron, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, here 15 and here 16. So this contain unpaired electron, here also it contain 1 unpaired electron. So this is a paramagnetic with 2 unpaired electrons. So answer will come C. Yes or no? I told you 10, 16 or odd number of electron, they will be paramagnetic. Even number except 10, 16, they are diamagnetic. But they have asked how many unpaired electrons. So to see the unpaired electron, we have to check it out the orbital electronic configuration. Okay, molecular orbital electronic configuration. This is I am doing from chemical bonding. So it contains 16 electron. When I start to write down the electronic configuration for 16 electron, so this you know, more than 15 and less than 15, this everything story you know. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2pz will come first, 12, 14. Now here 15 and 16, I cannot put directly 2 here, 1 here, 1 here. So it contains 2 unpaired electron and paramagnetic species. So answer will be C. Right of this. Answer will be C. Okay, take a screenshot of this. Please remember the shortcut. 10, 16 or odd electron, paramagnetic. Even number except 10, 16, they are diamagnetic. Now second question we will see, which of the following is incorrect? So O2 is weaker oxidant than O3. Yes, it's a weaker oxidant. Why? The reason is O3 can easily split to form O2 plus O, and one who donate O, reduction means oxidant. So O2 is weaker oxidant. From oxygen O2 I cannot easily get the oxygen. From O3 I can get easily oxygen. So O2 cannot give easily oxygen. Oxygen means it's a weaker oxidant. So this is true, but we have to find out the incorrect. O2 has larger bond length than O3. Yes, it is also true, because oxygen is only 2. When O3 comes, so the bond strength will increase, so bond length will decrease. So O2 will, in O3 there will be less bond length as compared to O2. It's also true. Both O2 and O3 are paramagnetic. This we will see. See, as we know that O2 is a paramagnetic. Yes, we have seen. O2 is a paramagnetic, because I told you 10, 16 or odd number of electron paramagnetic. So in O2 if you will see, so 2 into 8. 8 electron means here 16 electron. And I told you the shortcut 10, 16 or odd electron, it's a paramagnetic. Let's see about O3. So O3 means 3 into 8. 24 electron. Now if it is a 24 electron, so only paramagnetic will be 10, 16 or odd electron. But now 24 electron means even number except 10 and 16, they are diamagnetic. Now 24 is an even number, which is not 10 also, which is not 16, so it is a diamagnetic. So ozone should be diamagnetic and O2 should be paramagnetic. But here they have written O2 and O3 both are paramagnetic. So this is false. It is not possible. O2 is linear, O3 is angular. Yes, we know. This is O2, which is linear, and O3 will be a angular. This we know. And this is shifting from here to there. Yes or no? So this is also true. So we have to find the incorrect answer, that is option number C. It's in this way. So as it is an even number of electrons, it will be a diamagnetic, and when the number of electron comes to 10, 16 or odd number of electron, it will be paramagnetic. So oxygen is paramagnetic and O3 should be diamagnetic, but here they have written that O2 and O3 both are paramagnetic, which is false. Clear? Done this? Chalo, we'll see question number 3. When SO2 is passed through K2Cr2O7 solution, but which kind? Acidified. This I forgot to write down. Acidified K2Cr2O7 solution. So we'll see solution turns blue, decolorized, or SO2 is reduced, or green, Cr2 SO4 thrice is formed. Now better for this, you have to remember the reaction between K2Cr2O7 and SO2. Which type of K2Cr2O7? Acidified. So see here, K2Cr2O7 I will write down. For make it as acidified, I will write down here H2SO4, and I will pass it SO2. So I will get here K2SO4. This reaction you should remember. Here you get Cr2SO4 thrice plus H2O. This answer you will get. Now this is better colorless, but this is green in color. Cr plus 3 is always green in color, as we know. In Cr2SO4 thrice, Cr will be in plus 3 oxidation state. So as Cr is in plus 3 oxidation state, it will be green in color. So it is said in solution turns blue. No, solution cannot turns blue. Solution is not also decolorized. SO2 is reduced. SO2 cannot be reduced. SO2 oxidation state will remain same. Okay. So here also plus 6, here also plus 6, here also plus 6, here also plus 6. So SO2 is not reduced. Green Cr2SO4 thrice is formed. Yes, this is formed. So answer will be your D. Green Cr2SO4 thrice will be formed, and this answer can be only known if you remember this reaction. If you does not remember the reaction, gone. Remember the reactions. Heard of this reaction? So make a note on this. Make a star mark. Please make a star mark of this. Done? Next is question. When concentrated H2SO4 comes in contact with sugar, it becomes black due to Nothing but dehydration. Why? We know sugar C12H22O11. Many a times I have told this, and I will add here H2SO4. So as you know that H2SO4 is a dehydrating agent, so all the water molecules will burnt out and remaining will be carbon. Yes or no? And this is also called as a chairing of sugar. This somewhere I told you, chairing of sugar. But here they have told it's due to what? So beta, it's due to dehydration. Why dehydration? The reason is H2SO4, if any substance removes water during the reaction, if any substance removes water during the reaction from other substance. Now here H2SO4 is removing the water from this sugar. See, water is removed, water is lost. So H2SO4 it acts as a dehydrating agent. So it is due to dehydration. So answer will come is D. Answer will come is D. Write down this. Are you understanding? Okay. Now I will speak the question, you have to write down and we will discuss one by one. Chalo. Done? Okay. Write down question number 5. Question number 5 you write down. Identify the incorrect statement with respect to ozone. Identify the incorrect statement with respect to ozone. First, ozone is formed, option number A, ozone is formed in the upper atmosphere by photochemical reaction. Ozone is formed in the upper atmosphere by photochemical reaction involving O2. So it is true. Why it is true? The reason is oxygen. Yes or no? Ozone, how it is formed? Ozone is formed by upper atmosphere by the photochemicals. See, first in O2 what will happen? Here H mu will form. It will form O dot free radical oxygen. This O dot will combine with O2 and forms O3. So this is true. So option number A is correct. But we have to find out the incorrect answer. So write down option number B. Ozone is more reactive than dioxygen. Option number B, write down ozone is more reactive than dioxygen. So this is also true. Why? Ozone easily decomposed to form O2 plus O. Not at one of the students they have told, so ozone will not decompose at normal temperature, but if I supply again UV, it will get decomposed. Okay, so it will get decomposed, but on O2 if I supply UV, it will not get decomposed. So ozone is more reactive as compared to O2. So this is also true. Write down ozone is more reactive than O2. So this is also true. Ozone is diamagnetic. C option. Ozone is diamagnetic, whereas O2 is paramagnetic. This is also true. He is telling O3 is diamagnetic and O2 is paramagnetic. Just now I told you that if you are getting 10, 16 or odd electron, this is paramagnetic. Rest other all are diamagnetic. So if you see in oxygen, oxygen means 16 electron. So it will be paramagnetic, and here 24 electrons, so diamagnetic. So this is option is also true. So ozone is diamagnetic, whereas dioxygen is paramagnetic. True. Now write down the option number D. Understand. Ozone protects the earth inhabitants. Ozone protects the earth inhabitants by absorbing gamma radiations. Ozone protects the earth inhabitants. Ozone protects the earth inhabitants by absorbing gamma radiations. So this is false. Why? As we know, ozone will absorb UV radiation, not the gamma radiation. But in the option number D, they have told gamma radiation. So it is a false statement, and you have to find out that only in the answer, that ozone protects the earth inhabited by absorbing gamma radiation. It is false answer. Actually, ozone will protect the earth by absorbing the UV radiation. This you have studied from class 9. This is earth. and this earth is protected by UV radiation, yes or no? Yeah, sorry, this is an ozone layer. Now there is a sun. Sun will give three kind of radiation. One is UV radiation, another one is infrared radiation, and third one is visible rays. UV radiation will cause cancer, infrared radiation will cause heat, and visible rays means which we can see. So in daylight we can see easily everything, but at the night time we need a light to see someone. So see, this visible ray, this ozone layer will allow, infrared will also allow, but this UV radiation will not allow. So that's why this UV radiation will absorb. Who will absorb? Ozone layer will absorb. So ozone layer or ozone can absorb UV, not the gamma radiation. So answer is ozone protect the earth inhabited by absorbing gamma radiation. So this is a false statement and we have to find the incorrect statement. But actual answer, if we want to give the correct answer will be ozone protect the earth inhabitants by absorbing UV radiation. So ozone layer will absorb UV radiation. Here they have written gamma radiation, which is wrong, and wrong answer only you have to find out. So answer will be D option. Write on this. Done. Next, write down. Next question, write down. I hope you are understanding. See, you have to manage, okay? Each and everything in online I cannot write down because it will be time consuming. So how much it is possible I am doing. So next question is, which liberate SO2? Which liberates SO2 with H2SO4? Option number A, H2S2O4, sorry, Na2SO4. Option number B, NaHSO4. Option number C, Na2SO3. Option number D, Na2S. Write down this question, we will see each and every reaction. The question is, which liberate SO2 with H2SO4? Means if I react Na2SO4 with H2SO4, or NaHSO4 with H2SO4, or Na2CO3 or Na2S, and I have to see who will liberate the SO2. So for this we should know the reaction of each and every option with H2SO4. So write down the first reaction of Na2SO4. See, if I take the reaction of Na2SO4 with H2SO4, so answer will be here Na plus SO4 minus 2, here H plus SO4 minus 2. So here I can write like this also, H plus and HSO4 minus actually. So Na plus and HSO4. So here I will get answer as NaHSO4. That's it, over. Because again if I combine this H plus and SO4 minus 2, so H2SO4 only will be formed. So same product cannot be not formed with a reactant. If there is a reactant, same, see, reactant cannot be formed back, no? So the answer will be NaHSO4. So when I react Na2SO4 with H2SO4, I will get NaHSO4. I will not get SO2. So this will not liberate. Second option is NaHSO4. So when I react with NaHSO4 with H2SO4, so for this reaction is Na2SO4. Answer is Na2SO4, SO2 plus H2O. This you have to remember. So this option will come. So B answer will come. Then I go for Na2SO3 with H2SO4. When I do the reaction of Na2SO3 with H2SO4, again I will get Na2SO3. So I will get answer here Na2SO4 plus SO2 plus H2O. So this also will liberate. Next we will see Na2S with H2SO4. So when I split this, I will get Na plus S minus 2. I will get here H plus and SO4 minus 2. So I will get here Na2SO4 plus H2S. So this will not liberate. So answer will be B and C. And most appropriate answer is C. So if you write down the answer, B also is correct, C also correct, but most appropriate answer is C. And this is experimentally proved, okay? This has been done experimentally, so there is no proof for this. The proof is this reactions. Write down this. Clear? Can I go for next? Chalo. Return on this. Take a screenshot. Next question is, which of the following formula represent, write down, which of the following formula represent the fuming sulfuric acid? Which of the following formula represent the fuming sulfuric acid? Which of the formula represent fuming sulfuric acid? And beta, fuming sulfuric acid nothing but oleum. Fuming sulfuric acid, and fuming sulfuric acid itself is called as a oleum, and oleum means what? H2SO7. So this will be your answer. H2SO7 will be your answer. Clear? So they have given your option. If you want to write down the option, you can write down option number A, H2S2O4. Option number B, H2SO5. Option number C, H2S2O7. And option number D, H2S2O8. Option number D, H2S2O8. So as you know, fuming sulfuric acid means simple logic. It's also called as a oleum, and formula is H2S2O7. Clear? So next question you write down the compound of sulfur. This is important. Compound of sulfur. Compound of sulfur that can be used as refrigerant means to give the coolness. Okay, answer option number A is SO2, option number B SO3, option number C H2Cl2, option number D H2SO4. Pause the video and try to give the answer. Chalo, pause the video, think and give the answer. Chalo, 1 2 3 4 5. Done? Chalo, see here. So compound of sulfur that can be used as refrigerant, the correct answer is SO2. Theoretical question, because SO2, write down the reason. SO2 it's used as refrigerant. SO2 is used as refrigerant because of high heat of vaporization. Because of high heat of vaporization and get easily condensed. Because of high heat of vaporization and it get easily condensed. Clear? Chalo, next write down the acid. Next question write down beta. We done? The acid used in lead storage cell, simple logic, H2SO4. Write down the acid used in lead storage cell. See that your car batteries, your bike batteries are there, no? That are nothing but lead storage cell, and this will come in electrochemistry in the next chapter or next to next chapter. There we are going to discuss in detail. So just now you remember that if whenever in lead storage cell you are using what? Sulfuric acid. So answer will be here sulfuric acid. You can write down the option, but answer will be H2SO4. Write down the option. Phosphoric acid, option number A, phosphoric acid. Option number B, nitric acid. Option number C, sulfuric acid. Option number D, hydrochloric acid. Option number D, hydrochloric acid, and the correct answer is H2SO4. So sulfuric acid will be used in a lead storage cells. Clear? In a lead storage cell. Okay. So next we are going to see the question. This is important now. Return beta. So write down the question. Again you have to pause the video and try to give the answer. Chalo. Write down the question along with me, beta. 95% answer you will not know, but try to write down. Try to give this answer, beta. SO3 and D is gaseous sulfur. Chalo, pause the video and try to give the answer. Chalo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause the video and try to solve this and give the answer. Done? Chalo. So see the answer. Answer is colloidal sulfur. Clear? Answer will be colloidal sulfur. See how? If I take SF4, and if I do the hydrolysis H2O, so I'll split here, which is what I'm doing splitting, it's wrong, but then only I'll get the answer, that is S plus 4 and F minus. As fluorine is the most electronegative element, it will acquire the minus charge, and here I will do the splitting of H plus and O minus 2. So here it will be forming HF A and sorry, it will be forming here first S plus 4 and O2, so 4 and 2, S2O4, so 2 common, SO2 plus HF. If I consider this as A and this as B, so SO2 plus H2S, so I'll get here H2O plus S. Sir, if I consider this as A, then so HF plus H2S, so nothing will be formed. That's why I have to consider A as SO2 and B as HF. That's why, so that I can further do the reaction. So A will be SO2, and you know H2S plus SO2, H2SO4 will not be formed here because there are not more 2 oxygen. If there were more 2 oxygen here or H2O will be here, then I would have formed H2SO4. But you see here SO2 plus H2S, so answer will get H2O and S. This sulfur which is formed is colloidal sulfur, and this is the preparation, or this is the method to prepare the colloidal sulfur. If I have not given, please write down this, very important. So this is the preparation of colloidal sulfur. Write down this. Done? See to this. Okay? Chalo. Can I go for next? So next question will see. Next question is important and you should not know. You should be good with that because we have done number of structures now. So which acid has PP linkage? Which acid has PP linkage? So you can see the option here is, first option is hypophosphoric acid. Write up this question along with me, please. Hypophosphoric acid. Option number B, write down pyrophosphoric acid. Pyrophosphoric acid. And option number C, Option number C is metaphosphoric acid. Metaphosphoric acid. Option number D, orthophosphoric acid. Orthophosphoric acid. Clear? So we'll see one by one structure and we'll see where there is a PP linkage. So first is A, hypophosphoric acid, and you should know the formula. The formula is H2P2O6. Okay, see the structure. P should have a 5. Now your P, double P are there. So 5 means here, 5 means here. 2 weight 5, no? So 2, 3, 4, 5. This I told you when I was used to do the oxyacids. So in this way only can be coming. Double bond will be acquired by oxygen, and here I have OH, here OH, OH, OH. So this is H4P2O6 or H2P2O6. It is H4P2O6. So write down H4P2O6. So this will be the structure. Hypophosphoric acid structure will be H4P2O6 in this way. So it contains PP linkage. Now B is pyrophosphoric acid. So pyro means what? Pyre means fire. Fire means heating. So we are taking 2 phosphoric acid and we are heating. And when we take 2 phosphoric acid, when we heat, one water molecule will come out, and the formula was coming out to be was H4P2O7. This is the formula for pyrophosphoric acid. Now let's try. See. Now this is H4P2O6, but here H4P2O7. Only one oxygen has increased, and that oxygen will come between this PP linkage. So structure can be like this. This everything I have told you. This all. Okay. Similar structures, no? Here 6. So this was the structure. Now 7. Only one oxygen has increased. So oxygen will come between these two because there is no other space. So B option will be this. C is metaphosphoric acid, and metaphosphoric acid means that cyclic structure. So this will be like this: P O P O O P O. Now phosphorus will have a 5 bonds. So 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Double bond oxygen will be acquired, and here OH. OH, OH. So this is your metaphosphoric acid. D, orthophosphoric acid means phosphoric acid only. That is H3PO4. So 5 bond will be like this. 1 2 3 4 5. OH, OH, OH. So this is H3PO4. Now in there, which has PP linkage? A will have a PP linkage. See, none other has a PP linkage. All have POP linkage, and there is no linkage only here. So here also there is a linkage between POP, but answer is A. Clear? Chalo. So now last topic we are going to do. So that's it. Other MCQs, try to solve the MCQ of yourself. If you have any doubt in the MCQ, please you go on commenting me in the software. At the end of the chapter, after 10 to 15 days, all your doubts along with other certain questions belonging to 17 and 18 group I will do on the bottom. Clear? Chalo. Now write down, it's only for girls. Boys are free. Boys, if you want to off the videos, they can off the video. It's only for girls. Last topic only for 5 minutes. Aqua regia. What is this? Actually, aqua regia is a mixture of 1:3 proportion of H3PO3. Sorry, 1:3 proportion of HNO3 and HCl. You have to take 1 part HNO3 and 3 parts HCl. This mixture is known as a aqua regia. Now, why is it so? Why we need a aqua regia? The reason was, as you know, we have certain noble metals like AgAUPT. That AgAUPT will not react with any of the acid because they are least reactive. But we have to do the certain reaction, and we have seen the certain reaction of sulfur, gold, Ag, certain reaction with PT also we have seen. So that reaction are made with aqua regia. So this mixture was made to do the reaction of certain noble metal, or to make the more reactive the certain noble metal. That's it. So this is only your aqua regia. Aqua regia means 1:3 proportion of nitric acid, concentrated HNO3 and concentrated HCl. Means if you are taking 1 part HNO3, so 3 part HCl, when you mix together, that mixture, that liquid is called as a aqua regia. Now you will have a confusion in the exam. When 1:3 you will remember, but whether to take 1 part HNO3 or 1 part HCl. So what is the trick? Where there is a 1, there will be a 3. See, 1:3, so 1 means here 3 and 3 means here 1. In this way remember, 1:3 means HNO3. જ્યાં 1 છે ત્યાં 3 આવશે ને જ્યાં 3 છે ત્યાં કાંઈ નહીં આવે. એટલે 3 માં તો 3 કોઈ દિવસ આવશે જ નહીં. તો 1:3, 3 પાર્ટ HNO3 3 ના થઈ શકે, 3 ના આવે, 1 હશે તો 3 આવશે. બરાબર? સો એવું થાય ને તો 1:3, સપોઝ આમ થયું કે HCl is to HNO3, એક વસ્તુ યાદ રાખવાની, 3 ના થાય, 1 3 is only possible. So 1 આવે તો 3 આવે. So 1:3 proportion if I tell, so 1:3 proportion HNO3 HCl. If I say 3:1 proportion HCl, 3, if I say like this, 3:1 proportion, so what I will write down the answer? 3 means HNO3 will not come, HCl will come plus HNO3. So this is also aqua regia, this is also aqua regia. Clear? So nothing but aqua regia is a one mixture of 1:3 proportion of concentrated nitric acid and concentrated HCl. This mixture is made to do the reaction with certain noble metal. That's it for today. In the next class I will see some other question. Thank you.